First of all, how do you think that your first few months have been as the city manager of Sunnyside?
I'm excited about how things have gone. We've had a lot of really great wins. There's always room for improvement. I'm particularly proud of the outreach I've done, really the rebranding of the city. Some of the wins we've gotten with fixing our wells. Well 6 and 7 was down for many years, so we've got those fixed. We've got a $1.3 million grant from the legislature. I think there's a lot of good things going on, and in terms of the review, I really try to look at glass half full. And if you're not striving to get better every day, you're regressing. So I look at it as really positive, and in terms of my performance, and I look at it as there's always room to grow.
Yeah, speaking of room to grow, after looking at your performance review, is there anything that you might be changing or doing differently in the future?
No, I think the biggest thing that I need to get better at, no question, is really learning the policies of Sunnyside. I came from an economic development background, came from a communication background, so my strengths are really developing business, outreach in the community, solid leadership, and I think the next phase of my development is really getting into the weeds of our policies, looking at our ordinances, how can we create better ordinances and policies, not only internally but externally for the citizens and residents of Sunnyside.
One of the things that surprised me a little bit was that they mentioned your transparency and said that maybe you should think about setting boundaries. Did
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, yeah, I would say that's something I come from a journalism background like you, John, and I think one of the tenets that I've always lived on is being very transparent. And I think, there's always a balancing act between oversharing and what we need the public to know at a certain time. So I think some of those things, as I become a more seasoned city manager, the right time to share things and when the right time is not to share things. So I think it's just really learning experiences and, taking a look back at the experiences from these past 8, 9, 10 months and saying, where can I get better? What can I share? And, what is being transparent at the right time? Because I'm a true believer that the public should know what's going on, but there's sometimes I do need to reel it back and let people know at the right time.
as a whole, how do you think your relationship with the city council is?
I think for the most part, it's really good. I always try to deal with council people individually. Everybody's got their own personality. Everybody's got their own wants and needs. So I think I really try to tailor those relationships individually. Some ask for more information than others. Some like to meet one on one. So I think with each council member, you just really have to get to learn their personality, get to try to know them personally. So that's what I try to do with each individual council member. And some council members are really hands on, some are hands off, and I try to let them dictate it. I'm a really communicative guy, and I like to have conversations. So I mean that's something I've tried to do with each individual council member over this past year, get to know them a little bit better and know their philosophies and essentially what they want from me. And again, I'm in the infancy stage here. Hopefully I'm here for many years so we can continue to make Sunnyside better. But every day is a learning experience. And, I really look at this past 10 months as very fruitful. And, this next year I think is going to be a lot better in terms of my growth and where the city goes.
There, uh, as you saw, there was a number of different sections of where they would grade you and what that topic would be. Was there any of the scores that surprised you or that you thought maybe you were doing, you would rank yourself differently than what the,
Yeah, the only thing that I really pushed back on a little bit was community outreach. I think I was given a 2, but we respectfully said, don't worry about it. I really think my community outreach and connecting with the community has been a 5. And when I go downtown or I walk around Sunnyside, people are really appreciating the outreach that I've done, not only in person, but on social media and the marketing that is happening for Sunnyside. I think we're really going through an evolution and transition on our branding. Many years we were known as Smelly Side, and I think with the work that I'm doing, I mean, we're known as a city that's got a lot of great things going on, and that transition is taking place in less than a year. So, I'm bringing some of those skill sets and, the economic development lens, but certainly, John, you have to grow every day, and that's what, I'm really committed to this next year.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned social media. Sunnyside seems to be a little bit different from other cities in the area. Is there right now is your use of social media where you want it to be, or is that going to be changing in the next few months as well?
We've done some really intentional strategies, utilizing the lodging tax advisory money to hire a marketing firm to help rebrand Sunnyside. So that's been really impactful. In the past couple of months, we've gained nearly 1,000 followers on our Facebook page. Our content numbers are up probably 400%. So that's really paying off. I think me personally, coming from a communication background, I'm very intentional about being on social media, really highlighting our businesses, making sure people know the good things that are going on. Very active on my LinkedIn page with more than 20,000 followers that are primarily from Washington State. So the feedback that I'm getting from colleagues across the state is, wow, there's a lot going on in Sunnyside, and we appreciate you telling us about it. And I'll close with this, John. A lot of longtime Sunnysiders and people who have moved from outside the area really have appreciated the city's efforts and the rebranding and letting folks know the good things that are going on, because that's half the battle. Sunnyside years has been known for gangs, our smell, the cows. But we've got much more going on than that. We've got great culture. We've got amazing Mexican food. We have some of the best signature events going on in the entire country when it comes to our implement parade and then Sunshine Days and our Cinco de Mayo festival. Some of these things that I'm shining a light on, have been wonderful to get the feedback that, hey, thank you, Mike Gonzalez, for really shining a light on the positive.
With this rebrand you mentioned, is that mostly online, or is there going to be like actual physical changes to the city and how like Sunnyside presents itself as well?
Yeah, and that's something, in this coming year, we're looking at doing a master plan that really looks at everything from infrastructure to our facades to our downtown area to the larger scope economic development opportunities. So that is something that we're looking at. I would say primarily I have focused on the online aspect of things because that's where most people are at, whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all these different platforms. So for me and my skill set, it's easy to reach those folks there and tell the story of Sunnyside and get that positive view. But I think, the tangible elements are really going to be when we start doing those master plans and, all those focus groups really come together this next year to come up with what do we want to be in Sunnyside in 5, 10, 15 years.
You just mentioned focus groups. Is that something that's well, can you just tell me a little bit about them and what their points are going to be?
Yeah, I think what we're going to do on June 28th is have a focus group first with our city council and staff to we're going to spend all day at what we call a retreat and really come up with council goals and visions for this next year and the next 5 years to see what is it that we want to do and what do we want to be. From there, what we're going to more than likely do is go out for an RFP and try to hire a firm to really cohesively bring us together with our different ideas and say, okay, what does Sunnyside want to be in 5, 10, 15 years? And that's going to involve stakeholders like the school district, the port of Sunnyside, residents, nonprofits, and the focus groups will come out of those buckets of organizations as we work towards the larger goal of making Sunnyside a better place.
All right. And well, that's about all the questions that I have. Is there anything that I missed that you'd like to say? Or
No, just appreciate you covering this story. And, I look at every day as an opportunity to learn. That's what I tell my staff. You make a mistake, you learn from it, you grow. And I think in terms of the evaluation, there's some really good things on there. There's some things that I can really improve on. I talked to council yesterday evening. I acknowledged that. I said, "Hey, I appreciate the input because I felt like it was really heartfelt, and they want to see me succeed." So, if you're not acknowledging your shortcomings, you're never going to grow. So I know there's growth areas that I need to improve on. I know there's things that I do really well. So I'm hoping that I'm in Sunnyside for many years to come, and 3, 5 years, I look back and say, wow, I've really grown in those areas and I've really worked hard to get better. So that's my commitment to the residents of Sunnyside and the residents of Yakima County. I will work to get better every single day.
all right, well, thank you very much, Mike. I really appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely, John. You're always welcome, buddy.
Of course. Well, you have a great rest of your day, and yeah, rock on.
All right. Call anytime, brother.
All right.